We do have community questions now. When we told the community that we'll be speaking to Mr. Kulkarni from Tata, everyone got really excited and had like 100 questions, and we selected the choicest, juiciest ones, and we wanted to put them to you
Sure.
with your permission, of course. So
Okay.
the first question is from Mr. Satwant Singh Bhatti from Pune. He says, does the BMS of the Nexon EV's battery pack have active cell balancing? In older EVs, the battery had to be plugged in for 10 plus hours once a week to ensure the BMS balanced every cell in the pack. It would be good to know if the Nexon EV has active cell balancing so that the user need not worry about planning long charging schedules. If not, what are the recommended charging best practices to keep cells healthy?
So I think I have answered a part of that question already
Right.
in the earlier part. So I would only qualify that the Nexon EV has a passive balancing, but because of the selection of its cells within a very narrow band and making sure that because of the cooling system and because of the rest of the control algorithm in terms of the BMS and other things that sits on it, you shouldn't have these kind of issues. But it is always advisable to do one slow charging, not charge it for 10 hours or anything, but a regular slow charging once a fortnight, and that should take care of the situation. If there is any problems, the calibration will happen. The SOC algorithms are sort of laid out in such a way that the calibration takes place because when this slow charging cycle happens.
The next question is by Mr. Samir Pongshe of Mirage. He says, hi, I'm an Nexon EV owner and I've been loving the car for the past few months. Congratulations on the great work by your team. We Nexon EV owners interacted with you recently where you said that with the new software updates, the efficiency for people who are consistently getting low range would be increased. But there won't be any difference for those who are getting better range as of now. Why can't people who are getting better range now benefit from this software update?
The answer to Samir, and I think Samir was also there when we spoke about these issues about a couple of weeks back. So there is a law of physics, and therefore we can't do something which applies uniformly to all the batteries. If there is a consistency issue with a particular battery, then we can only do as much to make sure that the inconsistency is taken off, and which is what has been done. Which means therefore that if there are already consistent proving batteries or consistently performing batteries, then the amount of improvement that you can do onto that would be restricted. And that is the reason why you find that with whatever upgrades that we have provided, people who have already been getting a great range, good range, should find a small difference, but people who had this inconsistency related issues will find a significant update.
The next question is by Mr. Vivek Ahuja of Delhi. He says, I'm a Nexon EV owner. I wanted to know about extended warranty. Today, it's only 2 years add-on to the basic 3 years. We are happy to pay and get a 5-year extended warranty and match it with the motor and battery warranty of 8 years. Would that be possible?
So fundamentally, it's going to be possible.
Okay.
But let me tell you that. So again, this is something that I have answered before, but I will still try and give it with some amount of information and data.
Sure.
See, when we were trying to do this car, we wanted to take away the fear in people's mind. What happens to the most important part of the vehicle, which is the battery and the motor, and therefore we said giving the peace of mind to people for 8 years, 1,60,000 kilometers, where typically cars run for 160,000 kilometers. That is the kind of mission life that is sort of a standard within the industry. So if we can provide for a peace of mind up to that period, then it takes care of most of the concerns. Now, for the rest of the car, which is a usual stuff, which is what all people are used to, a 3-year warranty, because then parts are available, they are not very expensive, and they can be easily found and replaced. We continued with that same thing. But in order to provide for an additional cover, we said let's provide with a 2-year warranty additional AMC and 1 year of further extendable. So today it is 3 years plus 2 years, and you can actually upgrade that to 1 additional year. Okay. What we have seen, Abhishek, is this is a question that befuddles us, because despite giving this warranty, this extended warranty, and it's been in place for the last 2 months now, and it's at a significant discount to what people would pay for a similar kind of a warranty period on the ICE engines. The pickup rates are not very high.
Okay.
So and the reason why is because people are not able to, or people may not want to put in that kind of a money yet. So this is what I'm saying. Being at a significant discount to ICE engine price points for an extended warranty, the pickup rate is very poor. So if we add it more, I mean, yes, a theoretical point will exist, but is it going to find any takers? Probably very few takers. But I get the point, and we will have a look at this. So if there is something that we need to do more, we should do more. But as I said, the way that a larger population of people think and the way that we think, there's a gap in that.
Okay. All right. Okay, next question. And I promise I'm getting close to the end now, so we'll let you go very soon.
No problem.
Mr. KV Suresh of Noida, who, by the way, is a veteran EV owner, and he has done 130,000 kilometers in his E2O. His
wow.
Question, yeah, fantastic and really nice gentleman. His question is, the Mahindra E2O has a DC variable speed AC compressor, which is more expensive to maintain and repair. Maruti and other ICE cars have an AC compressor by ICE engine through a pulley. The old Reva electric car system also had the same system. This system is more cost effective than the DC variable speed compressor. My question is, what kind of AC compressor does the Nexon EV have?
So I understand where he's coming from, because probably back of the mind, the fear is that a more complex device, what is the kind of reliability, whether we are paying too much for it, and so on and so forth. But let me clarify that the Nexon EV uses a variable speed air conditioning compressor.
Okay.
And the reason for using a variable speed is because it allows us engineers to optimize the entire AC load very effectively by maintaining the comfort, saving on the energy, as well as maintaining the entire battery cooling system properly. I mean, there's a very complex piece of algorithm which is going on inside. About how much of that AC capacity has to be diverted to the batteries at what point, and how much of it has to be given to the passenger compartment in case of distress because of some error states cropping up. How does the prioritization have to work, and what does the prioritization mean, whether it saves you energy, whether it saves you the battery, or whether it gives you the comfort. All of this is complex enough for a person to be able to decide by himself, because there are a lot of parts in the car which he may not be aware about what is happening, and the AC system takes care of all this. So short and sweet answer is that it's a variable speed compressor. The variable speed compressor enables you to pick out the most optimal point at any given instance and direct it towards either the battery, motor, or within the compartment or the occupant compartment.
Okay. Second last question by Mr. Atul Gopal from Pune. He has a question regarding safety. He asks, has there been any EV related crash tests done on the Nexon EV?
Let me tell you like this, whether it is a EV or whether it is a IC engine, there are certain mandatory tests that a car has to achieve in terms of frontal crash, side impact, rear impact, all of these things. And the Nexon EV has met all those crashes, and it has qualified very, very nicely. So the occupant, so what we look at is in terms of a frontal impact and a frontal offset impact, whether the occupant space, which is where the occupant sits, whether that is protected or not, and it protects the entire case beautifully. We actually, and I said this at the time of launch, that we actually ran a separate program where specific elements of were further reinforced in order to cater for the additional mass of the batteries and the potential energy that would have to be absorbed when the impact happens. So
Right.
all of that ran into, so it also has a separate set of algorithms and calibrations running for the airbags, the ABS, all of these things.
Okay.
Additionally, because the batteries are one of the most important things, we do what is called as abusive tests also. So batteries stay submerged underwater. Batteries, we've subjected these batteries to fire pond tests, which is you actually put these batteries into a pond of fire and make sure that they sort of behave in a proper manner, don't misbehave, so to say. So all of these things were done to make sure that the entire package is absolutely safe.
Final question. This is by Vidhi Patel from Baroda. She asks, can we expect more energy efficient electric cars from Tata, such as a small hatchback or a Tata Tiago EV or a Nano EV? She feels that these would be perfect options. And she asks, can Tata Motors take this up as their next challenge and launch affordable EVs as soon as possible?
Well, thank you, Vidhi. I think that's a question that I can't answer straight off the bat, because obviously we've got into this kind of a question before. But let me tell you, we keep looking at improving the efficiency, and not only on future products, but we do that on existing products also. So, for example, as I said, the software upgrade that we have done recently for the Nexon EV, that actually ends up being a little bit more efficient than what it was to drive before. We look at optimizing the energy points or the energy consumption points, so that we can shave off literally a few watts of energy here and there, and try and put that into traction. And that's definitely something that we keep looking at. We already have a additional product in the form of a Tigor EV, or the Tigor ER as we call it, which is a low voltage system, and that gives a phenomenal 213 kilometers certified, and roughly around 160-165 kilometers real life usage. So that is another vehicle that is available. So whether to do a smaller than that car or not is something that depends on how much energy you can package, what kind of overall specification would be suitable, and I think it's not something that we can discuss on this forum at the moment.
That was all the questions we had, Mr. Kulkarni. Really, I cannot thank you enough for your time and for the elaborate answers that you gave to all these questions. I'm still a bit flabbergasted that someone as important, as busy as you, gave us so much of your time. So thank you so much, and it was a real pleasure having you.
So I'm very happy, glad that I have been finally able to come and speak to all of you guys. You guys are doing great work in terms of promoting electric mobility within the country, and it's such a nice to see that so many people are enthusiastic about it and charged up about it. I think hats off to you guys. So let's keep this thing going. I wish all of your participants and your members a very happy festive season ahead, and let's celebrate this by staying safe and staying secure. All the best to all of you.
Same to you, Mr. Kulkarni. Thank you again, and please stay safe. Okay, guys, that was it for our interview. A really informative chat, as you just saw. And thank you for watching. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Stay safe. Goodbye.